everyone. Welcome to Royals at the Ranch for Thursday, January 19th, 2023. I'm Lori with Behavior Education at Spirit Keeper Animal Sanctuary. I am joined this evening by Betty, our 25-year-old Python Regius, who has decided she likes coming out of her enclosure and roaming around the house. So she came out and was roaming, and I picked her up to help me make this video. And I just want to point out that the only reason we have this 25-year-old Royal Python is because of my husband, Jim Barentine. He agreed to take on an intern from Pikes Peak State College over a year ago. And it was through that intern that we ended up with this snake. So if Jim had not agreed to train the intern, we would not have Betty. But in retrospect, I feel thankful that we do have Betty because I think that she's a good representative of her species. She is calm, but not frightened of things. She is fairly outgoing. And I really enjoy that we have an older snake here, and I get to watch her behavior and watch her activity as she explores and investigates and does things like climbing. This is one of my favorite t-shirts. It's of a Python Regius climbing, and you can get this from my colleague Liam at Reptiles and Research. Check out Reptiles and Research. It's one of my favorite t-shirts. So in tonight's episode, you're gonna get to see several of our Python Regius. I just went around and took video of some that happened to be out and about in their enclosures. As you know, if you follow our channel, I do not force the snakes to come out of their habitats unless it's an emergency. And so just like Betty came out on her own tonight and was roaming around, so I picked her up to make this video, and then I'll put her back and she can explore some more when we're finished making this video. That's pretty much how I manage all of the snakes. But several were out inside their habitats, and although they didn't come out of their habitats, I got some footage for you of them moving around in their habitats, and I don't think that you've seen all of these before. And so what I'm going to do with this handful of Royals is just go through and tell you their names and their colors and patterns and where they came from and how old they are. This is Maeve. She is a super mystic hatched on November 30th, 2021. She was produced by Slyther Inn, who not only had great communication with me during the process of me acquiring Maeve, but they put out videos regularly of each snake that they have available up on YouTube, and that gave me a great opportunity to observe her behavior ahead of time as she was roaming around a novel area with just gentle guidance to keep her in that area when needed. And so I really enjoyed being able to see that video of her first. Now this is Ahsoka. She is a black pastel, and she was hatched on July 2nd, 2021, and she was produced by Regius Creations, and that is Creations with a C. She loves hanging out on that shelf, which is super close to her habitat lid, and she just really likes to position herself on that shelf between that and the lid. But she does come out on her own occasionally, and she's super pretty. This is Vanth, and Vanth is a black pastel GHI yellow belly who was hatched on September 4th, 2020, and he was produced by Brian Carter, but I actually obtained him from Top Branch Reptiles. So to the best of my knowledge, I'm his third home. So he was at his breeders and got sold to somebody else, and then I got him from that person. And he is just beautiful. I really love dark snakes. And he took really quickly to his sky hide. Now he does completely fit in his sky hide. That is a large sky hide from Reptile Basics, and he does fit in it. Not sure why he was hanging out at that particular point in time. This snake you should recognize. EZRA has been in many videos, and he is a mahogany Mojave cinnamon. And he was hatched on August 20th, 2021, and he was produced by Reptile Creations, Creations in this case with a K. And EZRA is just one of my favorite snakes to illustrate how easy it is to transition animals who are a little bit on the shy side of the temperament spectrum into larger enclosures and to make that transition smooth. So I put his entire habitat that he was quarantined in and later lived in, highly furnished, into a larger enclosure. And then I just left the door open. And so over time, he has transitioned to spending less and less time in his terrarium and more time in his habitat at large. This is Sarek, And Sarek is a blackhead, black pastel leopard. He was hatched on June 11th, 2021 and produced by CMM Constrictors. He's actually the youngest Python Regius that I've ever added to our family of snakes. He was 3.5 weeks old when he arrived. He took immediately to exploring outside of his enclosure. He took immediately to target training, and he's been a fairly outgoing snake since we got him. And I absolutely love his color. Black head, black pastel leopard makes a very dark snake. He's very intelligent and he's very beautiful. And so I've been very, very happy with him. Now, closely related to that color combination is this snake, Feather. Now, she is a blackhead cinnamon leopard. Whereas Sarek was a blackhead, black pastel leopard, she's a blackhead cinnamon leopard, and she was hatched on August 15th, 2021, and she was produced by P5 Pythons. So cinnamon blackhead is another color that I think is just absolutely gorgeous because it makes a very, very dark black snake. Now here's one that's completely the opposite. This is Mu Ra, and that is the Greek letter M, or mu, and the program wouldn't actually let me put the mu symbol in here, so I had to put Mu Ra with an MU. Anyway, he's a pinstripe inchy banana. He was hatched on September 16th, 2021, and he was produced locally by Chris Hardwick Reptiles. And as I am more leery and leery of shipping, not that I'm planning to add many future animals, but the ones I do add, I'm really looking for locally so that I can personally pick up and they don't have to go through the stress of shipping, and I don't have to go through the stress of shipping. AMUNET, you should definitely recognize. She's one of the very first 2 royals that I ever got back in 2020 when I started working with this species. She is a piebald. She was hatched on September 12th, 2019 and produced by Disturbed Reptiles, and that company is run by Keith Basilico. So she came on the same day as this snake, Amun, and Amun is a pastel banana piebald who was hatched on November 4th, 2019, and he was produced by TSK. And at that time, I thought piebalds were pretty. I had difficulty finding normals available that weren't het for something or didn't have other genetics mixed in. Back in 2020, when I was looking, at some point there were only, and I'm doing air quotes around only, 12,000 royal pythons available on Morph Market, and I just really liked these 2, and the reptile professionals that I worked with to get them were professional. They communicated well and were nice, and so not knowing anything about the royal python community or any breeders of this species, I lucked out with 2 that worked out well, and I've run into just some horrendous breeders since then. I got lucky in the beginning. None of the breeders that I'm highlighting in this video are in that category of being horrible, and I just want to mention that. So this is Himmer, and Himmer is a purple passion, which is a phantom Mojave. He was hatched on May 20th, 2022, and produced by Coldfire Exotics. Now, Himmer's been a natural at learning to voluntarily shift out of his habitat onto activity stands, and he's actually featured in several cooperative care videos that I've done, including one shown by Natural Encounters during their Ambassador Animal Training Program. Okay, this next Python Regius is named Luma, but originally her name was Luna, L-U-N-A, but we already have a smooth collie named Luna, and so we call her Luma, L-U-M-A. Now, she is a pinstripe pastel. She is an adult, but her age is unknown. Based on the limited information that we do have, we think she may be around 5 or 6 years old. She's only been with us since November 12th, 2022, and she is in quarantine, and she is pending repeated nidovirus serpentovirus testing. So her routine veterinary wellness exam indicated that she is in good health. However, her routine proactive virus screening that we do with all new animals indicated that she is a carrier of serpentovirus or nidovirus. So she tested positive for nidovirus at one lab, and subsequently we retested her, and she tested negative twice from 2 separate labs. So basically, she is in isolation. She's had 3 tests from 3 different labs, 1 test being positive and 2 negative test results. So she is not symptomatic or sick. That means that she's asymptomatic. Everything appears healthy on physical exam. but we will be repeating testing and keeping her isolated for now, which is really too bad because for a Python Regius, she is very outgoing, engaging, active, and she seeks to explore. She has her very own enrichment items and her own exercise tent in the isolation room, none of which, of course, is shared with any other snakes. Last but certainly not least is Betty. So she is of unknown genetics. She is 25 years old to the best of my knowledge. She is eating well on frozen thawed mice, despite the fact having never eaten anything but live before she arrived here in February of 2022. And she is seeking to come out regularly, and she's seeking to explore around the house on a regular basis. So as you can see here in this next video, one night she was out exploring, and she and our super dwarf reticulated python, Tauceti or TC, seemed to hone in on the same scent and were fixated on the exact same spot. So I took this short video, but they started moving sort of in the same direction, but they were moving parallelly. And so I ended up picking one of them up and moving them. Well, everybody, I hope that you enjoyed this glimpse into a few of the Python Regius that we have here at Behavior Education. We have more than what you saw in this video, and I will share those in the future. So, as always, and until next time, everybody, please love your royals, love your other snakes. Make sure you're giving them enrichment and that you're using the least intrusive, minimally aversive handling techniques possible. And always remember to be kind and love your animals.